Today we're going to talk about what does it mean to get to the next level? Jen, where would you start?
I think it's interesting because when I hear this question, a lot of times people are talking about like actually the next title, the next promotion at work, like the next level being you're moving up the career ladder, so to speak. And maybe the career ladder was something that was true many, many years ago when people stayed at the same company for a long period of time. But I don't think it's the reality today. I mean, and
Mm.
obviously I have some biases here because, my career is very eclectic. I've done a lot of different things and worked at a lot of different companies. But I really think about, the next level as being, am I leveling up my skills? Am I continuing
Yeah.
to learn and grow? And that doesn't necessarily mean getting a promotion or getting the next title.
Yeah.
It's more of, am I expanding my skill set? And you can do that laterally. And sometimes it could even be making a pivot of
Yeah.
where, what you're doing on a more of a lateral or even potentially a slight step backwards, depending on how drastic the pivot is.
Yeah. I think that's a great point. I know that I've been at the same company now for quite some time, but even within the company, I've taken not just uh, different disciplines, but different orgs and different products, ranging from things like Xbox all the way to Excel. And within that, engineer, manager, project manager, product manager. So even within that, there's a ton of lateral movement that, to your point, would not have showed up in the same way 50 years ago, or even mapped to a ladder in the way that you're describing.
Yeah. So, like, for me, at least, when I think about going to the next level, it's what are those skills
Mhm.
or those experiences? The skills
Yeah.
I'm building or the experiences I'm gaining. I mean, when I look back at my career too, I don't know how many different positions, but quite a few of them didn't exist, right? Like I was either the first one in and I was building something or part of a brand new team or a brand new thing. And so those are the types of things where you don't necessarily look to move up a ladder because they don't exist, right? There is no ladder there when it's a brand new product or a brand new team.
Jen, the thing that first jumped out at me when I heard you say that was you being the first one is a perfect example of how you like to show up and the way what's important to you in terms of the way that you contribute at work, but also what you're learning and the way that you're growing. And I think that sometimes when we're talking about the next level, we don't take a moment to step back and figure out what's most important to us. We just look at what is the next actual literal level. And sometimes that's rewarding and sometimes it's less so. So, for example, the things that I was thinking about when you were talking about skills was I love learning and I love growing. And so, finding a role where I can bring my skills is important to me because I want some degree of feeling like I'm able to contribute and hit the ground running. But at the same time, I also want something that has that runway ahead of me so I can learn on the job, so I can grow on the job, and so I can keep growing both in that position, but also while I'm thinking about what I want to do next.
This goes back actually. I think you and I have talked about this, and I know we've done a post or two on it, like the wish list idea too.
Yeah.
Like what you have to know yourself well enough to understand what you really want. And creating this wish list every time that you're like, okay, I'm ready for the next opportunity.
Yeah.
Creating that, here are the skills I want to build, here are the experiences I want to gain. I want to work closer to customers, or I want to work on consumer versus commercial products, or whatever. I want to work on something that's 10x to what I'm working on today. Whatever that is for you, identifying those things can help you be a lot more targeted too in where you go. And so, like, getting to the next level isn't necessarily that promotion. It's knowing yourself and what you really want and figuring out how you can continue to grow and learn in that direction.
Yeah, and that way too, when you get to that next level, when you get to that next role, it's going to feel so much more interesting and rewarding than if you're just trying to chase numbers or up a ladder in a way that might feel empty once you get there.